One sweet potato from the grocery store. That is all it takes to grow enough slips to fill an entire garden bed and harvest more sweet potatoes than your family can eat in a year. Sounds too good to be true, and I thought the same thing until I actually ran the numbers. A single healthy sweet potato can produce 20 to 50 slips over the course of a growing season. Each one of those slips becomes its own plant, and each plant can yield 3 to 8 pounds of sweet potatoes depending on your soil and your season length. Multiply that out, and you are looking at hundreds of pounds from one potato that cost you about $1.50. If you stick around until the end, I have got a curing technique that transforms good sweet potatoes into the sweetest, most incredible ones you have ever tasted. Let us get growing. Growing your own slips saves serious money and gives you complete control over what goes into your garden. A single pack of 6 slips at a nursery runs $5 to $8. Growing 50 from one potato at home costs almost nothing. We are going to cover choosing the right potato, sprouting slips 2 different ways, getting them rooted and into the ground, and keeping them healthy all season. First, picking the potato that starts it all. Not every sweet potato at the grocery store will sprout. Conventional sweet potatoes are often treated with sprout inhibitors, a chemical coating designed to keep them looking fresh on the shelf for months. That same coating prevents the eyes from breaking dormancy in your kitchen. Organic sweet potatoes skip that treatment entirely, which is why they are the only reliable choice for slip production. Pick one that feels firm and heavy with no soft spots, cracks, or signs of shriveling. Size matters here. A potato the size of your fist or larger has more stored energy to push out slips over a longer period. Small ones exhaust themselves after producing 8 or 10 slips. A large one keeps going for weeks, pushing out flush after flush of new growth. Inspect the skin carefully. Tiny raised bumps or small white nubs near the ends are dormant eyes already starting to wake up. A potato showing those signs will begin producing slips a full week faster than one with perfectly smooth skin. If you have the choice between 2 organic sweet potatoes at the store, grab the one that already looks like it wants to grow. That eagerness translates directly into faster, more abundant slip production at home. 2 methods work for sprouting, and both produce excellent slips. The water method is the classic approach most people have seen. The soil method is less common, but produces stronger slips with better root development from the start. Try both if you have 2 potatoes. Pick your favorite for next year. The water method requires a jar, 3 toothpicks, and a windowsill. Push the toothpicks into the middle of the potato at equal spacing around its circumference, creating a support structure that suspends the bottom third in water while the top 2/3 stay dry. Set it in a warm spot that gets bright indirect light. A south-facing kitchen window is ideal. Change the water every 3 to 4 days to prevent bacterial buildup. That cloudy film that forms on the surface is bacteria multiplying, and leaving it unchecked can rot the potato from the submerged end upward. Fresh water eliminates this entirely. Sprouts typically appear within 1 to 3 weeks depending on temperature. 75 to 80 degrees is the sweet spot. Below 65 in germination stalls. Atop of the refrigerator or a shelf above the stove, anywhere that stays consistently warm, accelerates the process dramatically. Those first green shoots emerge from the eyes, and once they reach about 6 inches tall with 4 to 5 leaves, they are ready to separate. The soil method skips the jar entirely. Fill a shallow tray or container about 4 inches deep with moist potting mix. Lay the sweet potato horizontally on the surface and press it down until the bottom half sits below the soil line. Cover the exposed top lightly with about 1/2 inch of soil. Keep the mix consistently moist but not waterlogged, and place the tray in that same warm, bright location. Soil-sprouted slips develop roots while still attached to the mother potato, which gives them a significant head start after separation. The trade-off is that you cannot see what is happening below the surface, so you are relying on the shoots above to tell you when roots have established. 6-inch shoots with healthy leaves mean the roots below are ready. Separating slips from the mother potato is the step that makes most people nervous. It should not. Sweet potato slips are remarkably tough. Grab the base of a 6-inch slip firmly where it meets the potato and twist gently while pulling. It should release with a small cluster of roots already attached, especially from the soil method. If using the water method, the slip may come away with fewer roots, and that is perfectly fine. Place each separated slip into a glass of water with the bottom 2 inches submerged. Within 5 to 7 days, a dense cluster of white roots will develop from the submerged stem. Roots reaching 3 to 4 inches in length signal that the slip is ready for the garden. Do not rush this step. Slips transplanted with underdeveloped roots struggle to establish and often sit dormant for weeks before growing. The mother potato does not stop producing after the first round. Leave it in the water or soil setup, and it will push out new sprouts from the same eyes and from eyes that had not yet activated. A single potato can cycle through 3 to 4 flushes of slips over 6 to 8 weeks. 20 slips from the first flush, another 15 from the second, 10 more from the third. The numbers add up fast. Sweet potatoes demand loose, well-drained soil more than almost any other garden crop. Compacted or heavy clay soil produces small, misshapen tubers that struggle to expand. If you can push a garden fork into your bed and it slides in easily to 8 inches, your soil is loose enough. If you have to stomp on the fork to get it in, amending is not optional. A blend of roughly half native garden soil and half finished compost creates an excellent growing medium for sweet potatoes. The compost provides nutrition and improves drainage simultaneously. Working in a 5-gallon bucket of coarse sand per 4x8 bed loosens heavy soil even further and gives developing tubers room to swell without resistance. Fertility matters, but sweet potatoes respond differently to nutrients than most vegetables. Too much nitrogen pushes massive vine growth at the expense of tuber development. Beautiful green foliage everywhere, and tiny, disappointing potatoes underground. A balanced approach works best. A 1/4 cup of an all-purpose organic fertilizer per planting hole, mixed into the bottom 4 inches of soil, provides steady nutrition without the nitrogen spike that sends vines into overdrive. Mounding is not decorative, it is functional. Sweet potato tubers form in the top 6 to 8 inches of soil, and a raised mound of 6 to 8 inches above the existing bed level gives them more room to develop in warm, loose, well-aerated conditions. Mound your rows about 12 inches wide at the base and space them 36 inches apart center to center. That spacing sounds generous until the vines start running midsummer and cover every inch of open ground between rows. What I have shared with you so far is a real piece of the puzzle, but it is still just one piece. If you are tired of planting things and watching them fail, if you want a garden that actually produces food you can be proud of, then I would really encourage you to check out the guide I put together. It is called The 60-Day System for Your First Abundant Harvest, and it is everything I have learned over 3 decades of gardening organized into a simple day-by-day plan you can start this season. It covers the complete 60-day planning calendar so you know exactly what to plant and when. It has got the raised bed blueprint with soil mix ratios that eliminate the guesswork. And it includes the beginner pest and disease field guide so you can identify and fix problems before you lose a single plant. Click the link in the description right below this video. Just scroll down a little and you will see it. Or if you are watching on a television or a computer screen, take out your phone, open up your camera like you are going to take a picture, and hold it up to the QR code on screen right now. A little link will pop up at the top of your phone screen. Just tap that and it will bring you right to the guide. No typing, no searching. Either way works. I think it is the best investment you can make in your garden this year. Soil temperature determines everything about transplant timing. Sweet potatoes are tropical plants with zero tolerance for cold soil. 65 degrees at 4 inches deep is the absolute minimum. 70 is better. Below 60 and the slips just sit there, refusing to root, slowly declining until warmth arrives or they rot. A cheap soil thermometer pushed 4 inches into the bed takes 10 seconds and removes all the guesswork. In most zones, that means late May through mid-June for transplanting. Rushing slips into cool soil to get a head start does the opposite. It sets them back. Plant each slip in the top of your prepared mound, bearing the stem up to the bottom set of leaves. 4 to 5 inches of stem underground gives the plant maximum rooting surface. Space slips 12 to 18 inches apart along the top of each mound. 12 inches produces more but smaller tubers. 18 inches produces fewer but larger ones. Either works depending on what you want in your kitchen. Water deeply immediately after transplanting and keep the soil consistently moist. For the first 10 days, slips look pathetic after transplanting, wilted, droopy, sad. Every single time. Resist the urge to overwater or fuss with them. By day 7 to 10, new growth at the tip tells you the roots have taken hold. After that initial establishment period, sweet potatoes actually prefer slightly drier conditions than most vegetables. 1 deep soak per week is plenty in most climates. Overwatering from this point forward encourages rotten cracks in developing tubers. Vine management is the one task most growers skip and later regret. Sweet potato vines root at every node that contacts moist soil. Sounds like a good thing until you realize those rooting nodes are producing tiny secondary tubers scattered across your entire garden instead of channeling energy into the main tubers at the base of the plant. Lifting the vines every 2 to 3 weeks and repositioning them on top of the foliage prevents this. A gentle lift, not a yank. Detaching a rooted node is fine. The bee plant does not care. Just redirect the vine back toward the mound. Feeding once midsummer, about 6 to 8 weeks after transplanting, gives developing tubers a boost during their most active growth phase. A 1/4 cup of the same all-purpose fertilizer scratched into the soil surface at the base of each plant is enough. No nitrogen-heavy feeds at this stage. Potassium drives tuber development, so a fertilizer with a higher third number on the label is ideal. Something like a 4:2:6 or a 3:3:6 ratio pushes energy exactly where you want it, underground into swelling tubers rather than above ground into more vine. Slips that wilt and never recover after transplanting almost always went into soil that was too cold. Pull one up gently after a week. If the buried stem shows no new white root nubs, the soil temperature is the problem. Waiting 10 days for warmer conditions and replanting fresh slips from the mother potato is a better use of time than nursing cold-damaged buns. Yellowing leaves during the first month usually point to overwatering rather than nutrient deficiency. Sweet potato roots in saturated soil cannot access oxygen, and without oxygen, they cannot uptake nutrients regardless of how fertile the soil is. Backing off watering until the top 2 inches of soil dry out between sessions corrects this within a week. If the yellowing appears later in the season, a light side dressing of compost addresses the more likely cause of nutrient depletion. Cracked or split tubers at harvest trace back to irregular watering almost every time. A long dry spell followed by a heavy soak causes the interior of the tuber to expand faster than the skin can accommodate. Consistent weekly watering through the growing season prevents this. Drip irrigation on a simple timer makes it nearly effortless. Voles and mice tunneling into mounds and eating tubers underground are the most frustrating pest for sweet potato growers. You do everything right all season and discover hollow shells at harvest. Hardware cloth lining the bottom of the mound before planting blocks tunneling rodents completely. 1/4-inch mesh cut to fit the base of each mound and laid flat before building the mound on top creates a barrier they cannot chew through. $10 of hardware cloth protects an entire season of work. Vines that grow aggressively but produce almost no tubers receive too much nitrogen. Lush green foliage and tiny disappointing potatoes is the signature of over-fertilization. Reduce fertilizer rates next season by half and switch to a potassium-dominant formula. The vines will be less impressive, but the harvest will be dramatically better. Curing is the step that separates a good sweet potato from an extraordinary one. Freshly dug sweet potatoes are starchy, bland, and frankly not that exciting to eat. The magic happens after harvest, not during it. Curing converts starches into sugars and heals minor skin damage from digging, which extends storage life from weeks to months. The process is simple but specific. Place unwashed sweet potatoes in a warm, humid environment. 80 to 85 degrees with 80 to 90% humidity for 10 to 14 days. A small bathroom with a space heater and a damp towel draped over the box works surprisingly well. A closed closet with a heat mat underneath does the same job. After curing, move the sweet potatoes to a cool, dark spot between 55 and 60 degrees for long-term storage. A basement shelf, an unheated closet, or a garage that stays above 50 degrees through winter all work. Properly cured and stored sweet potatoes keep for 6 to 12 months. Half a year of homegrown sweet potatoes from slips that cost you nothing, grown from a single grocery store potato. That is the kind of math that makes a gardener smile. What I have shared with you today is a real piece of the puzzle, but it is still just one piece. If you are tired of planting things and watching them fail, if you want a garden that actually produces food you can be proud of, then I would really encourage you to check out the guide I put together. It is called the 60-Day System for Your First Abundant Harvest. And it is everything I have learned over 3 decades of gardening, organized into a simple day-by-day plan you can start this season. It covers the complete 60-day planning calendar, so you know exactly what to plant and when. It has got the raised bed blueprint with soil mix ratios that eliminate the guesswork, and it includes the beginner pest and disease field guide, so you can identify and fix problems before you lose a single plant. There are 2 easy ways to grab it. The first way is to click the link in the description right below this video. Just scroll down a little and you will see it. The second way, if you are watching on a television or a computer screen, is to take out your phone, open up your camera like you are going to take a picture, and hold it up to the QR code you see on screen right now. A little link will pop up at the top of your phone screen. Just tap that and it will bring you right to the guide. No typing, no searching. Either way works. I think it is the best investment you can make in your garden this year. 1 potato, a jar of water, a sunny window, and a little patience. That is the entire investment. Get your slips started now, and by midsummer you will have a bed full of vines, doing all the work for you underground. Good luck in the garden, and keep on growing.